If I can have everyone's attention, please. It is Monday, November 16th today. The time is 5:30 p.m. This is the meeting of the Paris City Council. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We'll start the meeting with invocation, which is led by Jean Anderson, followed by a Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Lancaster. And after that, I'd ask for a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the tragic attack in Paris, France. If I can have everyone please stand.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you again for each and every blessing that you give us. We know that all good and perfect gifts come from you. Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have to gather tonight, Father, as a community and conduct the business of our city, and we pray for your guidance and direction. Father, we too pray for those families of those victims, Father, in Paris, that you might comfort them and strengthen them. And Father, we just pray that those who perpetrated this, that were not killed, that you would bring them to swift justice. For these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members or employees, as well as individual personnel appeals are not appropriate for the Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. If you want to address the council, please come forward, write your name and address for the record. If there's nobody wanting to address in the Citizens Forum is now closed. Next item is on the agenda is a proclamation. This proclamation is Open Heart to Heart. According to the National Coalition for Homeless, 900,000 to 1.4 million people experience homelessness in the United States each year. According to Lamar County Homeless Coalition, approximately 200 youth and children are homeless in Lamar County, and it is determined by Operation to Heart that awareness of our homeless population should be raised community-wide. And Operation Heart to Heart is raising awareness at the Crockett Intermediate School campus by sharing facts that homelessness during weekly morning announcements, and is raising awareness by providing bookmarks with facts about homelessness in all Paris IEST libraries. Open Heart to Heart had informational booth at the Paris Festival of Pumpkins to answer questions and disseminate information. Open Heart to Heart is preparing a children's book about homelessness. Now therefore be it resolved that the concern of children and youth affected by homelessness is a national concern that affects families in our community. Open Heart to Heart is striving to raise awareness of these situations community-wide and encourage grassroots efforts to help. I, A.J. Hashmi, Mayor of the City of Paris, do hereby declare the month of November 2015 as Open Heart to Heart.
My name is Ava Lassiter, a 6th grade student at Crockett Intermediate School. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Any of the council members have any issues with the consent agenda? Mr. Pickle.
I'd like to pull 6A, please.
Mr. Frierson.
No.
Dr. Clifford.
No.
Mr. Pilata.
I just have a question about one of them.
Sure.
Oh.
Let me come back. We'll go
Okay.
on. Mr. Jenkins.
No, sir.
Ms. Lancaster.
No, sir.
Mr. Pickle, you're on.
Okay, on 6A, the agenda, or the minutes for the Board of Adjustments for Tuesday, May 12th. And I think, Sue, you're on this, right?
I'm just the advisory
The liaison, well,
liaison.
your name should be on here because it doesn't have you on here yet. On the second page, you spoke in favor of petition, so it needs to show that you were there.
I'm almost always there, so I agree.
Well, I mean, that's why, I just thought that was,
There's
You were
no
there, and I
problem.
thought you
I
should-
was there and
one of my pet peeves is for people that aren't there and you were there, but they didn't have it down.
yeah.
So I just wanted to put that on there, please.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pilata.
Item number 13, it's personnel changes. It says an employee must exhaust all appeal rights before he or she is paid for accumulated vacation or accrued sick leave. Is this for somebody, explain it to me, are you making it tougher on them? Just
No, we have an inconsistency. The personnel policy does not require that currently, but the civil service rules do. So we just need to change the personnel policies so they're consistent with the civil service rules. So it's already the case.
Am I kind of, so just look at this, I might understand that they don't receive it, but they have to, how long does it take it before they do receive what they have coming to them?
I don't know specifically. They have a responsibility to exhaust their appeals, and that's the thing is, if they're getting time off without pay, if they disagree with it, then rather than just sitting there and saying, okay, well, give me all of my sick leave and use up all of my sick leave and get all that for free, they haven't even gone through the process yet. So the civil service rules require them to go through that process first. So again, that already is the way it's done. But when we were looking at our personnel policies, like, hey, the personnel policy is old and outdated, it's not consistent with what our actual rules are.
So this is not somebody don't work anymore, it's just somebody that's disciplined.
It could be somebody disciplined, it could be somebody terminated.
That's what I don't understand. If they're terminated, that's what they have come, isn't that vacation time and stuff theirs?
Yeah, but if they're going to appeal it, they should appeal it. If they're going to, they should go through all of their appeals ahead of time rather than after the fact. We don't want to write them a check and then they appeal it and they win and we're like, oh, well, gee, we shouldn't have given you that check. So we want to go through the whole appeal process first. So it's not taking anything away from them, it's just changing the order so that the order makes more sense. And again, more importantly, it's what we really do right now. It's just the personnel policies, when they rewrote them a couple of years ago, they didn't write this one right. It just needs to be fixed. So it's not anything new. It's not a different procedure or policy or change than what we actually do right now.
Okay.
You want any corrections to that?
No, if that's the way they do it right now, but it's not done right, and I guess that's, okay,
So you're satisfied with it?
yes.
Okay. If we can fix what Mr. Pickle wanted, which was the name included in the minute. Thank you. Thank you, Eva. If there's no further discussion on the consent agenda, I'd like to have a motion on this item.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Consent agenda. Item number 15 is, do we need to go in the executive session today?
I have nothing, so.
And it was all
Cancelled.
yeah, it's canceled.
Okay, thank you. So item 15 and item 16 obviously is also cancelled then. We'll move on to item number 17. Conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance for change in zoning from a commercial district C to light industrial L1 on lot 2, block 307A, located in 3200 block of North Main Street. Page 76 is where we can turn to. Mr. Efrasi.
Mayor and Council. We did one agenda item because the two properties are, adjacent to each other. And for legal requirements, there are two parcels, two ownerships. We have two public hearings. But my comments will be for agenda item 17 and 18. The subject property is proposed for a use for a truck stop. It will have booths for the storage and parking of large trucks, official scales, and other facilities to specifically serve large trucks, but also smaller vehicles as well. The subject property, the two of them are presently zoned commercial, and there's a third property adjacent to the south, which is zoned light industrial. The fundamental purpose of the rezoning is to have all of the properties the same zone. That's just good planning and zoning. The applicants wish to purchase the two zoning parcels under question, as well as the third one, which is light industrial.
So should we combine all three items together on this, or?
The 17 and 18, it's the same explanation and there's the same ordinance, but we'd have two separate public hearings for those two properties. So that's why it's posted as two items. We had to advertise it for two pieces of property.
All right.
Yes, and my comments, Mayor, are for both items. Yes, sir.
All right.
The fundamental purpose for the request was to be able to have fuel dispensing and other kinds of automobile activities. In the commercial district, that requires a special use permit, and the applicants didn't want to go through this process, especially if they're going to have the same project, Love's automobile area. It's just not good planning or zoning administration to have multiple zones for one development. At the November 2nd, Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval to the City Council. Staff supports this, and I'd be pleased to answer any question. We think it's a good use. It's a somewhat unique use. At its particular location, it could minimize the intrusion of heavy truck traffic into the major part of the city, and it could serve the city as well as the Paris region. I'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Ms. Lancaster?
I have no question.
Mr. Frierson? Mr. Pickle?
No, sir.
Dr. Clifford?
No questions.
Mr. Pilata?
No question.
Mr. Jenkins?
No questions, sir.
The public hearing is now open. If anyone wants to speak for or against, please come forward. Write your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Caden Hogan, and I am the real estate project manager for Love's. I just wanted to give you a few facts about our company and the project in general. Love's has been in business for 50 years with about 14,000 employees in 38 states and over 360 stores. We're entirely family owned and operated, and our CEO and founder have both been here, and we're very excited to become neighbors and members of the city. This particular stop will have 5 diesel truck bays with about 43 truck parking spots and a cat scale. Our estimated opening is in September with a Chester's and Godfather's as the restaurant concepts. We're looking at probably about 25 to 35 employees, 3 of which will be management positions, and only 1 of those will be brought in from the outside that we train at a different store for a few years before we bring them in. And that's pretty much all the facts that I have written down here, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Anyone has any questions?
I also have site plans if y'all would like to take a look at them.
Thank you. No questions? No comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else wanting to speak? If not, the public hearing is now closed. I'll take a motion on the item.
So moved.
In
Second.
favor?
Second.
Motion in favor to approve?
For both of them?
Yeah.
Second.
Second?
Can we do both, or do you have to have
We will have to do one at a time.
What did-
One at a time. Because they're separate property
Okay,
now.
well,
For the first one.
yes, sir.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Item number 18,
So moved.
Second. Gotta do the public hearing first.
public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance for a change in zoning from Commercial District C to Light Industrial L1 on Lot 3, City Block 307A, located in 3200 block of North Main Street. Mr. Efrasi has already given his.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wanting to speak in favor or against, please come forward. Write your name and address for the record. If there's nobody here for that, then the public hearing is closed.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you and welcome to the country. Item number 19 is conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance for a change in zoning from a one-family dwelling district number 2 to a general retail district on lot part of 9, City Block 249, located in 2500 block of Lamar Avenue. Mr. Efrasi.
Thank you. Staff spoke with the applicant some weeks ago, and the applicant, Mr. House, indicated that he wishes to change the zoning from the SF2 to GR General Retail to construct apartments. He went before the Planning and Zoning Commission on November the 2nd, made a presentation as did staff, and the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously approved the recommendation to the council for approval of the GR zoning. Backing up, the staff had indicated our concern. However, in fairness to the general review process in the application for the Planning and Zoning Commission and also for the City Council, we looked at everything okay?
Yes, everything's just fine.
Sorry.
Continue on.
For 4 options, which we've outlined. For the record, I will briefly state what those are. The first one would be to recommend approval. If you do that, you will then create an opportunity for more intensive general retail use, which goes against the recommendation of the future land use plan within the comprehensive plan. However, that will give potential opportunity on a very small piece of property, which Mr. House was advised by several staff members, including myself, that there may be potential problems. He wants to take advantage of an opportunity to save some money by being able to purchase this property under a certain kind of a governmental program. That's the reason he moved forward with the Planning and Zoning Commission. The second recommendation would be to recommend denial. That would be in support of the future land use plan, and it would avoid the additional extension of general retail into an area that's currently zoned residential. The third option, if the council is interested in viewing this in an approval status, would be, and if you think apartments are appropriate, then you could recommend that it be zoned multiple family instead of general retail. If you approve general retail, there's no guarantee and there's no legal requirement that Mr. House builds apartments. In Paris, you can build apartments in a general retail. If it's granted, he changes his mind, he could build a more intrusive commercial use on that property. Furthermore, in 2008, the City Council expanded the definition for multiple family locational requirements in its updated definition. I won't go into all those details. I spelled that out for you. It talks about buffering, separation, standard, appropriate separation considerations between single family and multiple family. The last option would be a planned development. That's a pretty small piece of property, and if you provided for a planned development district, he would have to agree with it because you can't zone it on your own. An applicant has to come forward. The problem with that is that it's questionable as to whether or not he'd be able to put some of those buffering requirements on there. But you could, like the multiple family zone, absolutely limit that to multiple family. Having shared all that with you, with all due respect to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they talked about this for a while, they brought up some good points, staff still recommends denial. Taking into consideration what I just enunciated to you and what we wrote in our report, the fundamental reason we're recommending denial, in addition to the others, is twofold. One, we feel that we have a specific obligation to protect the existing single-family corridor adjacent to this on the west, right next to it, and this proposed rezoning is effectively in the backyard. Two, if it's approved on the future land use plan, what you'll have is a general retail rectangle in the middle of the future land use plan, which north, west, and south on the future land use plan shows low-density residential. Furthermore, on the future land use plan, even though part of the property facing Lamar going further south is currently zoned general retail, the future land use plan recommends that it be lessened and low-density residential. In summary, the zoning ordinance, as you know, is a standalone document. It functions on its own, but its fundamental purpose is twofold. One, to implement a comprehensive plan that a city or a state or a county has, and secondly, it's to protect surrounding areas from inappropriate and incompatible land uses. In fact, that statement is on the first and second page of the Paris zoning ordinance. Be pleased to answer any questions. I appreciate the opportunity to share these thoughts with you.
I have a question, Mr. Frassi.
Yes, sir.
I understand you're obviously opposed to it. Why did the P&Z approve it?
They didn't give a reason, sir, but if you're going to ask me to surmise, they felt it was an appropriate use. That sounds silly because what other reason would they have? They thought it was an appropriate use. They did bring up concerns about access, flooding, potential drainage, configuration of the property, the size of the property. But they did not give a specific answer as to a comment as to why they're approving it.
Okay. Now, if you look at the map, the lot right next to it is general retail, correct? Commercial use?
Yes.
And there are homes across from that. So what's so different about this? I mean, what I'm trying to say, if the 2500 block was approved and right across from it is homes, then what's the difference between this and that? I have it right here. See, this
Yes.
is already there. This is his property. The homes are right here. So if these people don't have a problem here, then what kind of a problem do we have when it's right adjacent to that?
Because it's extending, Mayor, the commercial in through here. And I think what you have here is this is the zoning district. You're extending the commercial through here. If you look at the future land use plan, it's not extended, and as a matter of fact, sir, if there's a reduction, they're saying that this property, even up here, should be low-density residential. I'm just trying to follow the recommendations of the future land use plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any of the council members have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
You need the map?
Nope, got it right here, thanks. Alan, just real quick, and though I realize the future land use map is for consistency and development, it's not necessarily an absolute, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. In fact, on certain instances, staff has recommended changing.
Yeah,
But that's because we need to update or review a comprehensive plan every year and maybe make some changes every 3 or 5. But whenever we did that, staff always gave a recommendation. The last land use plan was a number of years ago.
and I appreciate and understand that inconsistency. You know, you don't need to be harem scarum, and far too often we've done that. I totally get it. Second thing is the question or the statement that you brought up about drainage and things like that. That has nothing to do with the zoning, right? That's up to the site plan and engineering,
Well,
right?
candidly, an applicant should come and talk to us, as many of them do, and we bring out fire department issues, loading on streets, drainage, et cetera. And with all due respect to Mr. House and I don't know if he's here tonight. He called me long distance, half hour before his application for this. And in order to go the extra mile, one day before this was due before the Planning and Zoning Commission, the staff collectively had a meeting with him. So,
Yeah.
and we pointed out these problems. In fairness to the Planning and Zoning Commission, several of them spoke about that at length.
Right, and totally appreciate every bit of extra sweat that you guys put into it. But I guess my point to that is our issue tonight is just the zoning. It's not the drainage or any of that. That's the property owner's burden to bear.
Zoning is land use,
Right.
not site planning, correct?
Okay, that's my only question.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If he has plans to build apartments, why is this not under multifamily instead of general retail?
He has the opportunity to do that. He talked to the staff. Staff gave several options. Staff said one of the options, which I mentioned of the four, Mr. Plata, was you can ask for general retail that's more compatible for the zoning that's right adjacent to it, just south.
Myself right now, I don't know. If he has plans to build apartments, it needs to be he needs to fall under multifamily.
Well, that's, even though we don't agree with this use, this is why we put the options in, sir.
That's because you don't give the people around, did any people around there get an opportunity to come forward?
Oh, yes, sir, they're notified. We publish it in the paper. We had one couple who was at the November 2nd Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I don't know if they're here this evening, but they were concerned about some drainage issues. They were concerned about people viewing them from multiple family areas, and they had general concern about trash and some environmental flooding.
And this is a public hearing tonight, so there may be people here tonight who want to speak too, so.
I feel like some people with that general retail don't know that their apartments are going to be built within their residence. That's why they're not showing up.
That may be.
Any other council members with any comments before I open the public hearing? Ms. Lancaster?
Alan,
Yes, ma'am.
in your opinion, will this possibly have a negative impact on the neighborhood?
Yes, one, short-term, Ms. Lancaster, in terms of potential intrusions on the existing tranquility and character of the area. And secondly, this kind of decision can suggest, well, we can go ahead and do this in the future. And that may be more of a stretch, but I have seen this happen before.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr.
So the follow-up to that is, does it pose any more threat to intrusion than the apartments already to the east?
Well, first of all, the apartments to the east, the property to the west, Mr. Farson, that's vacant but unzoned is also shown on the future land use plan as high-density residential. But having said that, if that's the future land use plan. It's general retail now. If the future land use plan changed, then we'll have an opportunity to put in those buffering solutions that I listed there.
Right. Okay. Well, you said it posed more of a threat. I just didn't know if that was any different than what's already there. So,
Well, there's a separation to some extent, and it's consistent with the future land use plan, which shows high-density residential property.
Thank you, Mr. Efrata.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. House is here, correct?
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question of you? With reference to what Mr. Pilata is saying, if your plan is to build apartments here, do you really want to ask for general retail zoning, and if so, why is that?
Okay, well, I think
I'm sorry about this, but it's not my, I have them far away from me, and I don't know, oh, it's yours.
No, I got airplane mode on.
You have airplane mode on? Everybody has airplane mode on. Okay, well, I don't know. Go ahead, please.
It's the weather.
Okay, I contacted the city about getting the zoning changed on the property. There's this property, about 70% of the property is zoned general retail that fronts on Lamar Avenue, right across from the Dairy Queen. I went down to the city to get an application to change this smaller portion at the back to multifamily. And then the staff brought up the point that that would be spot zoning if I zoned it multifamily. My intentions were to leave the front part general retail and the back portion, the smaller portion, multifamily. But I received a call from Ashley at the city that said, and she told me that the staff at that time recommended that would be spot zoning and for me to request general retail because it butts up to general retail. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's already, the front portion, the front 70% is already general retail on Lamar Avenue. Okay, with general retail zoning, you can put apartments and houses, whatever you want to, general retail or below, is my understanding. But the city staff recommended on that particular day that I request general retail on this property, this little piece at the back. So that's what I did. But I'm under time constraints. I can't wait and do this in January or February because I sold some property, extended stay property up on Lamar Avenue in June, and by government regulations, I got to reinvest that money before December 28th. So that's why I told Alan that I wanted to go ahead with general retail and just hope that y'all would understand that that's what I'm wanting to put apartments there.
All right.
And there's apartments to the east of this property. There's apartments across the street next door to the Dairy Queen. I don't know what, I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with the property, and I don't know what the highest and best use for it would be other than apartments. I mean, there's a huge apartment complex next to it. And
Mr. Ferrazzi, you want to respond?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
well, I mean, I certainly understand his recommendation on going back and zone it all multifamily, but at the same time, I don't have time to do that. I've got other property I can buy this money. In other words, I got to spend the money or I have to pay taxes on it, you know, and I would like to reinvest it, and I think we could use some apartments in Paris, you know, but it's up to y'all. It's whatever, you know.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Efrasi?
Thank you. With all due respect to Mr. Hassan, he's been a gentleman in this process. I just want to clarify two things, minor points. When the staff mentioned about multiple family, that was less consistent than GR. But in my presentation to you, I wanted to indicate that anything less than what is suggested in the future land use plan can be spot zoning. Briefly, spot zoning classically includes three factors. One, a special consideration to the property owner. Two, municipality doesn't get a benefit. And three, it's inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. In each of these cases, whether it's general retail or multiple family, it meets two of those three criteria. If a land use goes there, obviously we could get property tax. The second thing is, with all due respect, and a lot of developers use this term, highest and best use is a redevelopment retail concept, and it only has a general relationship to future land use planning. If we want a highest and best use, most cities would be industrial and commercial. That would generate the most tax. Highest and best use is a real estate appraisal term, and I want to clarify the difference between that and city and regional planning concepts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wanting to speak for or against, please come forward and write your name and address for the record.
My name is Donnie Hussey, and I own the property to the east of this rezoning area that he's looking at. So when you're looking at your map, you see the very long piece of property next to him at 2524 Lamar Avenue. Half of my property is general retail, and the other half is single family. So my question to the council would be, if you continue moving forward with denying this, then he's going to have this block of his property that he just doesn't have access for a single family, and I don't have access to the back part of my property. So I'm assuming that if you deny him, you would deny me. So I would have half of my property has no access. If we put general retail in front, how am I going to use the rest of the property for single family? And directly next to me is the large apartment complex there. And behind that complex, the very thin piece of yellow behind the big apartment complex is, that's single family there, but there's no access from either one of these properties from the backside. The only access is from Lamar Avenue. So I have a question about that for the council. That would mean that half of my property would be unusable because I wouldn't have access to a single family situation.
Can I ask you to explain one more time? Say it one more time,
Yes.
please. You're on 2524.
Yes. And so half of my
And the
property.
front part of your property on Lamar is general retail.
Yes.
And the back portion of your property, which is coming towards Hubbard,
Yes.
is single family.
Yes. And it's adjacent to his property that he's trying to rezone.
Okay.
So if you're denying him rezoning that and keeping it as single family, then I would assume you would also deny, if I went to get mine rezoned, you would say it still has to say single family. And how am I going to use that piece of property if I don't have access to it for a single family?
Well, I wouldn't want to speculate on what we would or would not do since we don't have an application before us and that's not on our agenda.
Right.
But I understand your point,
You
and
understand
I
my
think
point.
just looking at it, it would probably be comparable. I wouldn't promise that, but probably it would be, yes.
And his also would be inaccessible for a single family.
As it sits now, right.
Right.
And I don't know how old the zoning is. I don't know if it's been around 5 years or 100 years or whatever, but that's.
That zoning's been there, when I bought the property 20 years ago.
Okay, so it was on single family when you bought it, okay.
And we tried to get it rezoned before for commercial,
Okay.
but they denied that. But general retail is a little different,
It's a challenging property, no matter what, both of them are obviously. So.
yeah. But we wouldn't have any access to, so what good use is the property sitting there in Paris not being used? So, thank you.
Mr. Efrasi? Are you stopping him from speaking?
Yes. Well, no, not now.
The staff considered these concerns, and while a city council is not the best place to design subdivision or development, there's a potential, I can't say for sure, along Hubbard Road and some of the other areas, if we redesign and take a look at the whole area, it's possible to create a subdivision design that will provide access. I can't say that for sure. But that is something that we were concerned with. In my memo, I'd indicated that having the subject lot platted or designed that way was inappropriate. It typically violates subdivision regulations across the country, and it's just not good planning. But I guess the larger responsibility of the staff was to protect the existing residential areas who've made a commitment to live there. We're not suggesting that we're not cognizant of these other concerns.
I have one other question of Mr. House. If you were not to invest here, where else will you invest?
I have some cabins in Broken Bow, and I
Okay,
plan
that
on.
answers my question.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else wanting to speak for or against? No. So the public hearing is closed. Mr. Pickle.
What?
Any comments, any
No.
suggestions?
No.
Mr. Frierson.
Well, I guess my comments, I've already heard most of those, and I understand the need for consistency. I do. I think it makes, everything flow better and everyone's happy. I am torn with this part. I mean, because we have a property or a potential property owner that wants to invest and put more property taxes on the books, and he's trying to do it in the city of Paris. And while I'm not for spot zoning, I would have to say that all I have to do is stand at his lot and look directly to the right, and I'm going to see 300 more units that are going to be just like what I'm trying to do. So I don't quite understand that. So I would have to agree with planning and zoning in this case. I know that may not be what Alan wants to hear, but that's just the way I would lean.
Dr. Clifford? No comment on it. Mr. Pilata?
Yeah. When I was looking at it, I was kind of thinking about the wrong location, knowing where it's at right now. I have to agree with Matt.
Mr. Jenkins?
Were there any other concerns from the public?
I think we've mentioned all.
Ms. Lancaster?
Well, I take very seriously our staff's recommendation, but on the other hand, I certainly want to see investment in the city. So it's darned if you do, darned if you don't.
And my comments are that I don't want him investing in Broken Bow. So, and I think we want to be a business-friendly city, and he has time constraints, and I don't want him paying unnecessary taxes. So, as much as I want to favor what Mr. Efrasi wants to say, I'm going to favor Mr. House, and I'm going to make a motion that he be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? No. Okay.
Do you want this, or do you want me to turn them?
I just say next slide for you.
Okay. Item number 20, receive presentation from Dr. Clifford regarding Paris Warehouse 107 tax abatement discussion.
Okay, this presentation is about the tax abatement agreement with Paris Warehouse 107. Next slide. But it could also be entitled How the Paris Economic Development Corporation, the City of Paris, and Lamar County Appraisal District really failed in their responsibility to the citizens of Paris. Next slide. In March of 2006, the City of Paris, Lamar County, and Paris Junior College entered into a tax abatement agreement with Paris Warehouse 107, whereby the taxes on a new warehouse would be abated. A new 150,000 square foot warehouse would be constructed. The company would maintain 158 full-time jobs over the next 7 years. Next slide. In exchange for the economic benefit of the new warehouse, the taxes on that warehouse payable to the City of Paris, Lamar County, and Paris Junior College would be abated according to a declining percentage formula. The contract specified mandatory annual reports that had to be filed with the Paris Economic Development Corporation or the City of Paris, including the number of full-time employees employed during each quarter. The established policy of the City of Paris at that time delegated most of the compliance responsibility to the PEDC. Next slide. I discovered that for the first several years of the abatement, none of the required documents verifying compliance with the terms of the agreement appear to have been submitted to the Paris Economic Development Corp. Or to the City of Paris.
even though the abatement contract mandated that these documents be sworn to and submitted annually. Gary Vest was the director of the PEDC at that time, and it appears that neither he nor any PEDC employee or board member ever requested these documents throughout most of the time of the abatement. In fact, the submission of these forms was in fact a mandatory part of the contract, and failure to submit the forms might have completely negated the contract. It's incomprehensible why the PEDC did not demand these mandatory sworn documents from the company. Next slide. Only during the last year did the PEDC attempt to straighten out this problem. They requested all the compliance informations. It wasn't just Paris Warehouse 107. There were several other documents they had not gotten. And they requested all of the compliance information on numerous abatements and incentives for a variety of companies. They requested the compliance information for all the years of the 2006 abatement contract from Paris Warehouse 107 to verify that the company had indeed fulfilled its obligations under the terms of the contract. Employment figures were submitted for the years of the abatement by Paris Warehouse 107, and all submitted figures pertain to the 2006 abatement agreement, and the company attempted to prove that they had indeed satisfied the 2006 contract requirement of 158 full-time jobs. The contract clearly specified that only full-time employees were to be counted. The company did not have to hire any new employees to satisfy the terms of the agreement. They just had to maintain current employment levels and not fire full-time employees and replace them with temporary employees. But unfortunately, according to the documents submitted by Paris Warehouse 107, they appear to have indeed replaced several full-time employees with temporary employees, and this appears to violate the agreement. This put them in violation of the terms of the agreement. They argued that they should be allowed to count temporary employees to satisfy the contract requirement, although this was in violation of the contract, as the contract clearly stated that only full-time employees were to be counted. But even counting these temporary employees, Paris Warehouse 107 was out of compliance in the year 2012. According to the contract, being out of compliance for even 1 year could negate the entire abatement agreement, resulting in all taxes, interest, and penalties being assessed. Prior to my election, the council decided, next slide, the council decided to only require payment of the taxes for that 1 year that even counting temporary employees, the company was not in compliance. In essence, the council allowed Paris Warehouse 107 to count temps as full-time employees, even though the contract did not permit this. Next slide. Additionally, it was also discovered over a year ago that the percentage of taxes abated had been done incorrectly over the entire course of the abatement. The contract allowed abatement of only 80% of the taxes for the first 3 years, and then the percentage of taxes abated was to have dropped by 16% per year until none of the taxes were abated. Instead of this, the Lamar County Appraisal District actually abated 100% of the taxes for a full 8 years from 2006 until 2013. Next slide. I requested documents from the appraisal district that would justify 100% tax abatement for a full 8 years. A few documents were submitted, but clearly none of these documents justify granting of a 100% abatement for 8 years. About $1 million in taxes were abated, and the appraisal district doesn't have any documents to explain why they applied 100% abatement over 8 years. Next slide. Paris Warehouse 107 applied for the tax abatement in February 28, 2006. According to the application, the company stated, quote, "We will be building a dock-high enclosed metal building which will be a minimum of 150,000 square feet." Next slide. Paris Warehouse 107 was required by the contract to submit an initial document. Next slide. It had to be submitted within 30 days of completion of the construction, and the failure to submit this information would have violated the contract and negated the abatement agreement. This covered a large amount of information about the property. This information was critical for understanding the property and to verify that the company had indeed fulfilled its requirements under the contract before the tax abatement was granted. This was so important, the contract required that it be sworn to under penalty of perjury. Next slide. No copy of the mandatory sworn statement containing the initial reporting requirements can be located. I have requested this and no one can find it. It seems extremely likely that the document may have never been submitted. The PEDC does not appear to have ever even requested the document at the time the building was completed, and the City of Paris appears to have never requested this mandatory document as well. And keep in mind, this is the document that Paris Warehouse 107 was to have sworn that the warehouse was indeed completed and thus eligible for the abatement. Next slide. In the last year, the PEDC did finally request those mandatory initial reporting documents as well as employment figures that were all required by the contract. Next slide. Here's a part of the document that was submitted to the PEDC by Paris Warehouse 107. It's a listing of the construction costs for the warehouse in the 2006 contract. Note at the top it says 107 project as of September 9th, 2006. Next slide. Here's another document submitted to the PEDC by Paris Warehouse 107, clearly showing the abatement period of 1107 through 12/31/13, and those are the dates of the 2006 contract. The 150,000 square foot warehouse is listed as costing about $5.3 million, and the date of substantial completion was listed as September 9th, 2006. The 158 full-time jobs that were direct requirement of the 2006 contract. Thus, Paris Warehouse 107 stated they had indeed complied with the terms of the 2006 abatement contract. Next slide. This document was also submitted to the PEDC listing the cost of the 2006 warehouse as well as the date that the new warehouse had been completed. Note the date of substantial completion of the 2006 warehouse is listed as September 9th, 2006. Next slide. Here's an aerial photograph on October 21st, 2005, courtesy of Google Earth. Notice the existing warehouses as well as the vacant field to the northeast. Next slide. And here is another aerial photograph taken on October 30th, 2008. Imagine my shock when I see this and I was trying to figure out this abatement, and lo and behold, the building had never been constructed. And this is what caused me to look into it even more. This was incomprehensible. So here's a photograph 2 years later showing that the building that I was researching, trying to figure out, was never even constructed. Next slide, please. Here's a photograph of the property today on the left, showing next to the drawing that was submitted for the abatement contract in 2006, showing the planned new warehouse. Clearly, the warehouse was never constructed, and yet $4.4 million worth of property taxes were in fact abated at 100% for a full 8 years. Almost $1 million in taxes were abated on something, but clearly it wasn't the building shown on the 2006 abatement contract because that building was never built. This is the type of problem, and this is why I'm bringing this up. This is what happens when the Paris Economic Development Corporation doesn't even think it's necessary to require a company to fulfill its end of the contract. This is what happens when the City of Paris fails to do the most rudimentary compliance. This is what happens when the local tax assessor office grants an abatement with inadequate documentation. A tax abatement of $1 million is granted, but the complete lack of compliance at all of these organizations results in nobody even checking to be sure the building was ever even built. So for 9 years, everybody granted an abatement and arguments were made regarding mandatory employment levels, but no one in the Paris Economic Development, no one at the City of Paris, and no one at the Appraisal District notices that the building was never built. I I was ready to present this information at the last council meeting, but at the last minute, even more convoluted documents appear, and I had to cancel it because I wanted to give an accurate and factual account of this. So there was a new document that I had not seen before, and I canceled the talk and did even more research. I talked to Mr. Godwin about this and laid it all on the table for him, and we looked into, next slide. The document that surfaced was indeed on August 20th, 2004, Paris Warehouse 107 presented a document to the Paris City Council that requested an abatement on the planned construction of a new warehouse. In this proposal, they agreed to build a new 172,000 square foot warehouse. Next slide. Oh, that's correct, that slide. They further agreed in this proposal, you can see it on this slide, to create 30 new jobs, including 20 packagers, 5 forklift operators, 4 clerical workers, and 1 supervisor. Their proposal also promised, as you can see, an increase in the payroll, lower right corner, of $470,000 annually. Next slide. This proposal was presented to the Paris Economic Development Corporation on September 10th, 2004. According to the minutes of that meeting, and I'm assuming this is a typo, it said directive guest. I think that should have said Director Vest, but that's in fact what's in the minutes. Handed out the tax abatement application from WEPAC. He said they wanted to add 170,000 square feet to their existing plant on the Loop. He said the application said this would add 30 jobs, but he'd met with David Owens of WEPAC who said it would be more like 50 jobs. So again, other than that, I assume that's supposed to be Director Vest, but that's not what's in the minutes. The PEDC unanimously passed the resolution and recommended to the City Council that they approve the abatement. This proposal was indeed approved by the City Council on October 7th, 2004. The agenda information sheet, and you see a copy of it here, that was given to the City Council members, included the description, and you'll see it about halfway down on the right, of 30 new jobs that would be created. It stated, quote, an additional condition of the grant of the tax abatement is the creation of 30 new jobs. And this is the agenda information sheet that the City Council had at their disposal. A contract was also attached to this sheet, and in the fine print of the contract, of this final contract that was signed by then Mayor Curtis Finley, contained a very significant change. Next slide. Instead of creating 30 new jobs, the contract only required, look at that first line, Paris Warehouse 107, to retain 30 jobs. In other words, instead of being required to hire 30 people and increase their payroll by $470,000, as Paris Warehouse 107 themselves had proposed to both the City Council and the PEDC, the final contract that was signed by Mayor Curtis Finley did not require them to hire any new employees at all, and there was no provision for increasing their payroll. I can find nothing in the City Council minutes where any discussion was made regarding the alteration of the terms of the contract. Who would have removed such a critically important item from the contract? Increased employment is an obvious goal for encouraging economic development, and abatements are granted on the basis of presumed economic development. Paris Warehouse 107 said in their initial proposal that they would create 30 new jobs and increase payroll by $470,000. So why were the council members and the members of the PEDC told that these 30 new jobs would indeed be a requirement of the contract in the agenda information sheet, but in the actual contract, this critical information was changed? It appears that the council approval mandated the formation of 30 new jobs, and the council authorized the mayor to execute the contract containing 30 new jobs. But since the actual contract executed by Mayor Finley did not require any new jobs, the question must be asked, does this negate the entire contract? I believe we'll need legal advice to see if the passage of a contract that substantially differs from the description of the contract given to the city council is even legally binding. And I want to thank Mr. Godwin. He discovered this huge problem with the contract. I had not found it, and he drew it to my attention. I first pointed out to Mr. Godwin a few weeks ago that the building that was the subject of the 2006 abatement had never been built. And of course, he was incredulous when I showed this to him. After meeting with Paris Warehouse 107, Mr. Godwin told me that this has apparently all been a mix-up. He explained that Paris Warehouse 107 is now maintaining that the 2004 abatement was actually the legitimate abatement all along, and that the company decided not to build the building that was the subject of the 2006 abatement. It appears that virtually no one was even aware of the 2004 contract until it was rediscovered a few days ago. Absolutely no compliance documents appear to have ever been submitted regarding this 11-year-old contract. The compliance terms of this contract appear to have never been fulfilled, and consequently, this contract should be deemed invalid due to the absence of all mandatory compliance documents. Legal counsel will also be needed to evaluate whether the absence of all mandatory compliance documents negates this contract. Next slide. If the 2004 contract was the abatement agreement in effect, then why did Paris Warehouse 107 give a document to the PEDC stating that the warehouse was substantially completed on September 9th, 2006? What building exactly was Paris Warehouse 107 referring to that was completed in September of 2006? Aerial photographs document that nothing at all was built during that time period, and yet a document was given to the PEDC regarding the costs of the warehouse. The dates of the abatement period at the top of this document were taken right off the 2006 contract, the contract regarding the building that was never built. Clearly at that time, Paris Warehouse 107 was representing that they had indeed built a warehouse in 2006, but now they're saying they actually did not build a warehouse in 2006. It was built in 2005. So once again, if this is true, why did they give documents to the PEDC stating that the building was completed in September 2006? And if the 2004 contract was indeed the abatement contract in effect, then by the terms of that contract, the abatement ended in 2011. To quote that contract, quote, "Said abatement shall extend for a period of 7 years beginning January 1st, 2005. That obviously indicates that the agreement ended at the end of 2011. Why were taxes abated at 100% during 2012 and 2013? The invalid 2006 abatement agreement regarding the warehouse that was never built did extend until 2013, but it didn't even permit 100% tax abatement at all. It seems that the terms of both contracts that were the most beneficial to Paris Warehouse 107 have been applied to the same property. The 100% abatement starting in 2005 that was in the 2004 contract has been applied, while the time frame of the 2006 contract extending all the way to 2013 has also been applied. That appears to be how 8 years of 100% abatement occurred, but that's speculation. If the 2006 contract is invalid, and it clearly is invalid because the warehouse was never built, then the abatement unquestionably ended in 2011. There is absolutely no reason why all taxes abated in 2012 and 2013 were abated. Those taxes were abated because of a warehouse that was never built, and they should immediately be assessed by all three taxing authorities. Next slide. So here are the conclusions. The 2006 contract that extended from 2007 through 2013 that started with an 80% tax abatement for the first 3 years, then dropping 16% per year, is obviously a completely invalid contract. The reason it's invalid is that the warehouse that was the subject of this abatement was never constructed. This contract is the only contract referred to by either the PEDC or Paris Warehouse 107 throughout the time frame of the abatement. This is also the only contract that permitted abatement of taxes during 2012 and 2013. The 2004 contract lasted from 2005 till 2011. This is the contract that have been informed that Paris Warehouse 107 now contends is the valid contract. It provides no abatement of taxes at all during 2012 and 2013. There is no evidence that any of the 8 mandatory sworn reporting documents were ever filed with the City of Paris or the PEDC. In particular, the initial reporting document had to be sworn to and filed before the abatement could even begin. Also, the contract signed by then Mayor Curtis Finley differed substantially from the agenda information sheet given to the Paris City Council as the requirement to create 30 new jobs, a requirement proposed by Paris Warehouse 107 themselves, was completely omitted from the contract that Mayor Finley signed. Next slide. So the final conclusions. All taxes plus interest should be immediately assessed by the City of Paris, Lamar County, and Paris Junior College for the years of 2012 and 2013. There is absolutely no valid contract or agreement that permits the abatement of these taxes. We need to obtain legal advice regarding the legality of the 2004 contract, since there is no evidence that any of the required mandatory compliance documents have ever been submitted. And since the signed contract differed substantially from the agenda information sheet approved by the City Council, we need to obtain legal advice to see if this also might negate the entire contract. Next slide. So why did I spend countless hours researching all of this? I didn't plan to when I started it out. I planned to just look at it, but the more I looked into it, the more I realized the complete ineptitude of the Paris Economic Development Corp. And to a lesser degree the City of Paris regarding abatement compliance. They have completely abdicated their responsibility to the citizens of Paris. When a tax abatement is granted, the citizens of Paris have to make up the lost revenue in taxes. In exchange for the abatement, we expect the city to be certain that it receives tangible benefits in the form of economic development. But when the PEDC and the City of Paris grant 100% tax abatement for 8 years on a warehouse, a tax abatement worth almost $1 million to all 3 taxing entities, and when the compliance with the contract is so inept that no one even notices that the warehouse on which the tax abatement was supposedly based was never even built, then we've really got problems. When a company voluntarily agrees to create 30 new jobs as a condition of receiving an abatement and presents their plan to the PEDC and then to the Paris City Council, and then when the requirement for 30 new jobs and an increase in payroll of $470,000 simply disappears in the final signed contract, in direct contradiction to the information sheet supplied to the City Council, we have very, very large problems. These are problems that lie at the foundation of the policies of the City of Paris and the Paris Economic Development Corporation. These events highlight massive fundamental deficiencies and incompetencies at the Paris Economic Development Corporation. Until these deficiencies are fully identified, fully addressed, and fully solved, neither the PEDC nor the City of Paris should be granting any abatements or any incentives whatsoever. Because if they continue to grant these abatements and incentives, all we can expect is that our tax money will once again be squandered with no verification of compliance and no measurable economic development. If these problems cannot be solved, if the PEDC continues to be a poor steward of the tax dollars entrusted to it, then maybe it's time for the citizens of Paris to consider whether or not it's time to do away with this organization.
Thank you. Mr. Pickle?
Can we go back to near the end of it? Keep backwards one more. Let's see. Okay. On the conclusions, thank you. The signed contract differed substantially from agenda information sheet approved by the City Council.
Mm-hmm.
What did the minutes reflect?
They showed that exact thing. I've got it right here if you want to see it.
I do.
The minutes did not say any discussion, but let me show you this. Here's the agenda information sheet that was presented to the council.
Yeah,
And
but-
you can see
But I
that
mean,
it
the minutes,
shows,
that's just the agenda thing.
the minutes say they approved it. That's all it says. The minutes say they approved it.
Approved,
They
but we don't know
approved-
what the motion was then.
It did not, I didn't see the motion specifically made. A
Okay.
motion was made to approve the abatement.
The
Okay?
abatement, okay,
Yeah.
so.
And it was
if-
unanimous.
We don't know if the information sheet reflects what the city council approved.
The information sheet was given to the city council. It's in the minutes. It's in the agenda packet. And the draft contract is in the agenda packet, and they contradicted one another.
Okay, but, so we don't know what was actually approved in the minutes.
The minutes say that, you can read them, but I mean, the resolution was approved.
We don't know what resolution it was.
The resolution to approve the tax abatement.
Okay, but you don't know if they changed the resolution during their conversation.
There's no discussion whatsoever. They're very, very spotty. There's
Okay,
almost no
okay.
information.
Well,
at
and
all.
that's my point, is that you're making an assumption. I mean, we just had an item on the agenda that, based on the information sheet, we were asked to decline a deal for Mr. House, yet we've approved it. So in the minutes, it will reflect that we approved it, whereas on the agenda sheet, it shows that it was recommended that we decline it. So we don't know what the city council approved one way or the other.
And that's a problem, yeah.
Okay, and I agree. But you can't assume that they did it one way any more than you can assume they did it the other way.
Is this any way to run a city? That's the whole problem.
Well, do we want to go back and rewrite history? Should we go back and look at B&W? Go back and look at, do we need to go back and look at the Turner's deal that we just approved for Turner? Are you telling me you don't want to do Turner's deal?
Another topic entirely.
Well, but you said that we should stop doing abatements.
Until we figure out what the heck we're doing wrong, of course we should. I mean, this is.
Well, and I guess I can sort of address some of this from 2000, 2012, 2013. The looking at the documents and trying to get that, those were all, I agree, there were problems as far as there was no check for compliance. And in 2014, last year, your wife and I started working on those. Now, it appears that
the document you were working on regarded the building that was never built. Do you realize that?
Well, I know. I can't.
Dr. Clifford, can I ask you, let him finish, please?
I mean, I'm shocked. I relied on your wife, who at that point was the treasurer of the PEDC, but she provided the documents. And absolutely, she checked. She gave me the documents for us to check for compliance that were in error. I don't know if I'm assuming she didn't do that on purpose. I'm going to give her that benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say that she knew that they were wrong and wasted our time. I don't believe that. But based on assumptions, I can assume anything because this is full of other assumptions. I guess part of my question is there's no evidence that any of the required mandatory compliance documents have ever been submitted. Is there any evidence that they were requested, submitted, and lost? I mean, you've already told me that things here, we didn't do a very good job of keeping records. So you're saying that because we can't find it, and believe me, I looked back at the minutes and they were atrocious. They were awful. They've gotten much better, Janice. Kudos to you.
Wasn't here then, Edmund.
No, I'm talking about now. They've gotten much better over the past several years. But I guess, do we go back and rewrite history? Do we go back and look at the 90s and look at what they did wrong in the 90s when the mayor there was your brother and start criticizing those things? I I guess my question is some of this should have been discussed. We could have had a discussion, invited the Harpers to discuss it, give us the information, see what they agree to, what we agree to, and move forward. This is all completely one-sided based on, and I said it at the last meeting, and I will continue to say it, I think that there are issues with certain members of this council that are going to, come hell or high water, gonna do anything they can to speak derogatorily and to put down the Harper family.
I did request Mr. Godwin to look into this. He did meet with the Harpers, and he kept me informed on the progress. I did not even go public with this information until Mr. Godwin had a chance to look into it. He's the one that informed them about the 2004 contract. From all intents and purposes, most people weren't even aware that contract existed until I discovered it.
Well,
but he gave them an opportunity to respond, and they're going to get an opportunity to respond tonight as soon as we finish this.
And I think let's let them respond.
No problem with that.
And get the rest of the story.
Mr. Frierson?
Okay. Well, I'd like to refer just to a procedural point of view. Dr. Clifford, are you aware of the policy for presentations that the council passed earlier this year?
What policy are you talking about?
That any information that is to be presented in public has to go to the council first in their packets?
I attempted to do that.
Well, that's a yes or no question. So there are some slides in here. This slide was not in our presentation.
There was a
so-
couple of things I had to change at the last minute that I wanted to be accurate.
Well, it was a yes or no question, so no.
95% of it's
The answer is no there. I just wanted to make sure we pointed that out. Not accusing anybody of anything, but it is convenient that a few slides had to be changed right at the end. My thoughts overall, quite honestly, is all along this could have been handled much differently, going back multiple years. And quite honestly, this is one more thing in the line of making sure we're playing a game of gotcha. And I get that you have concerns, I totally get it, but since you have been on this council, this has totally been between the city engineer. We're gonna have to talk about spending $1 million extra later on tonight because of an outside Lamar County inspection firm. And now this is one more thing that there were 2 agreements. Mr. Godwin summarized all those in a memo to the council, and this could have been handled not as a very pointed, making sure you pointed a finger at everyone else about how poorly they're doing 11 years ago. And it troubles me that we can't get away from the past long enough to look to the future. Can we do better? Of course we can. That's never been an issue. But, you know, this is all about painting one side of the picture. I'm disappointed by it thoroughly, and I look forward to seeing the next item, and I'm sure I'll have more comments at this point. At that point, thank you for the grammatical correction.
I'll come back to you, Dr. Clifford. Mr. Plata?
Well, I think, myself, I think that we're going back in time, and we're trying to correct something way back, and that's not fair to whoever it is. If it's Harper's, I don't care who it is. You need to fix what's happening right now on further into the future. What's been done to me, what's done is done. You need to just leave it alone. To me, it's a vendetta. So that's my feelings on it.
Mr. Jenkins?
I have no questions right now.
Ms. Lancaster?
This is a whole lot to take in. As far as going back, I'm sorry. This is a whole lot to take in. I'm very, very troubled with what I'm seeing. Yes, we do have to go back. I mean, you know, if something's been committed, it needs to be straightened out so it doesn't happen in the future. Dr. Clifford talks about we shouldn't grant tax abatements until we understand fully, and I agree. We need to know what we're granting. I mean, this is taxpayers' money. People have to make up the difference if we grant an abatement. I have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. We have to be sure we're on firm ground, firm footing about what we're doing.
First of all, I'd like to say that I'd like to hear Mr. Harper's presentation and would like to hear what he has to say about it. I want to make it very clear, this is a very clear discussion. I have no personal agenda against anyone. They are respectable people and they do business in town. As far as going back is concerned, I don't find a problem going back, but by the same token, I don't think any one person can be held responsible. I think we are all at fault. The city is at fault, the PEDC is at fault, and the person who's getting tax abatement is at fault. Somewhere along the line, it should be looked at and seen. I remember, since I was part of the council, when we were discussing them to pay the taxes back for 2013. 12. I was not aware of the 2004 contract, and I do think that there are issues, because if 2004 contract is applicable, then 100% tax abatement is applicable. If 2006 contract is applicable, then the decreasing amount is applicable. If the 2004 contract is applicable, then it should have finished in 2011. It continued on for 12 and 13. If 2006 is applicable, then it's a whole different story. So I'm not sure anymore now whether the 2004 is applicable or 2006 is applicable. Certainly some of the papers that we got when we were discussing this, we got papers from 2006, which is why we thought so, and which is why when we saw the abatement, we went back to the city and asked them to go back to the council, to the tax appraiser, and say that it's not 100% abatement. We did not know about 2004, because if we had seen the 2004 agreement at that point, we would have said that these taxes have to be paid one way or another. It is not tax exempt in 2012 or 13. But again, the papers that we were provided with were the papers which showed the tax exemption to up to 13. Now, I do agree with what Dr. Clifford is saying about the temporary jobs or the permanent jobs, but the council did agree that, okay, we'll count it, which was going off the contract, really, and we could have insisted on it. But I think it is only after we didn't get a proper response that we said that now we are, and I think all the council asked for it, that the entire amount be cancelled and the entire amount of taxes be recalled, or the abatement be recalled. But having said all of that, I appreciate your hard work of looking into it. Certainly, I didn't see it, and I didn't know about it. So appreciate your hard work, but I think before we make a decision, I think the next item on the agenda is Mr. Harper, and he's welcome to come and talk. So if I want to say, I'm not going to
keep this item open in case we want to make a motion.
Yes, sure. So item number 20 is not closed yet. If the council is in agreement, we'd hold off on item 20 and combine item 21 to it and let them speak and then decide further. Is that okay with everyone? Acceptable to everyone?
If Janice would turn the heat up a little bit.
So I'm going to make a motion to combine item 20 and 21 at this point.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Harper, sorry.
How are you? My name is Jordan Harper. I'm with Harrison Walker and Harper. Obviously, the purpose of our meeting here. Do what?
Please speak a little closer to the mic. People can hear.
Is that close enough?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
The purpose of me coming to the council today is actually to give factual information on what happened with the 2006 tax abatement. I'm here to respectfully request that certain elected officials and appointed officials stop their questionable and harmful behavior, and I hope that we can move forward as a community, because there's been lots of seems like personal agendas and political agendas, and they're not really adding value to the community. This is the 2006 proposed expansion. We never built this building, you're right. We never got a tax abatement on it because we never built it. The way the tax abatement process works, we had a client that was interested in us expanding our operations. So we came to the city council and we asked for an abatement if we built the building. Our business model changed. We therefore did not build the building, and therefore there was no taxes assessed and there were no taxes paid. Nothing. So the 06 abatement is null and void. We never acted on it. Neither did the council, neither did the tax assessors. Go to the next slide, please. So Dr. Clifford's allegations that $1 million worth of taxes were abated, that we were out of compliance for 2012, that was all based on an 06 abatement that never happened. We didn't build the building. Therefore, we had no compliance requirements because we never built that building. There were never any taxes assessed on it. We didn't have to create 158 full-time jobs because we didn't build that building. So therefore, we got no benefit from the tax community. And this is absurd that I'm here having to defend our organization or our family because you're provided information that you knew. You knew this before you brought this to the council, that the 06 abatement never happened, and it was null and void. I want to talk about, this is the fact that really drives home what I'm trying to get across, is that certain elected officials are using their position for personal agendas. And this has got to stop in the community. We had an 04 abatement agreement that had 30 jobs that we had to create. We created 152 jobs at the minimum. We had to create 30. We created 152 at a minimum, 152 over that period of time. It was abated for 8 years. It should have been 7. I brought that up. I met with John, I met with Pam Anglin, I met with Chuck Superville. I brought that information to the taxing authorities, not you, Dr. Clifford, I did. I requested that the taxing authorities come meet with us at our office proactively, requested your wife, Rebecca Clifford, that brought all of this information up. Let's get together and let's understand where we're out of compliance. That was a year ago. She didn't show up, Pam did. John did, Chuck Superville did, and we walked through this. It was all based on, I'd like to finish, it was all based on, her recommendation that we were out of compliance was all based on an 06 abatement. We didn't get an 06 abatement. It never happened. We did not build the building. John sent all of that information to everybody sitting up here. But still, we're having to get slandered in front of the public on something that never happened. Go to the next slide, please. This questionable behavior by our elected and appointed officials has to stop. This happened before with the PEDC incentive on the Rogers Wade agreement. We had documented appraisal information that came to the council and to the city attorney that never got shared. So we go spend $50,000 on an investigation that proved nothing. You talk about a misuse of taxpayer dollars, that's a misuse of taxpayer dollars, right? Got the same thing happening right now. Dr. Clifford knew that the 06 abatement was null and void, but he chose to give this long-winded presentation about how compliance and people are not doing the job correctly, and that we are $1 million worth of taxpayer money that got abated on a building that never was built. Do you understand how abatements work, right? That never happened. This is really ridiculous that we're all having to go through this right now. And not even to mention, I got the same thing happening from your brother, Judge Clifford, who's continuing to slander us when he's getting reprimanded in public because we have some ongoing FBI investigation, which everybody knows is not true. So this is a pattern. This is a pattern of mistreatment, and this is a pattern of a problem all the way through.
Mr. Hartman, if I can interrupt you for 1 second. Since we are on this agenda item, I would refrain from bringing somebody else.
I got one more slide, and I'm done.
You can say whatever you want, but just bring the names of people who are not involved in this, because that's not.
Every one of these people is involved in this, Dr. Hashmi, and it's been going on a long time. And the reason I'm here talking today is because at some point this has to stop. This is abuse of the public's trust. This is abusive to the public. This is a waste of public funds. And this is a misuse of power for personal and political agendas. And this is harmful to our community. This is harming Paris. And we're going to have to work really hard to build Paris's reputation, because we are a laughing stock in the state right now because of the way we are handling these items. And that's all I came to here to say.
Thank you. You have anything to say since I told you?
Yeah, my wife was not invited to that.
You're absolutely, she was invited to it.
She was excluded.
No, she was not.
She's
She
in the
said
back.
she was out of town.
She's in the back, you can
Yeah,
ask
no,
her.
you were invited to it. You said, I'm out of town, I can't come.
When we got into tax abatements, we went to the tax abatement committee.
No, ma'am. I asked everybody to come. You were included in that, and you chose not.
I did come to your office and I never called. I was going out and I mean, that was entered. And, you know, I was not. And I want to correct Mr. Pickle too. I didn't give any of the tax abatement, the compliances to you. The information was furnished to Shannon, and Shannon brought them to our meetings. I never got them directly. Shannon.
I didn't, if that's what you, that's not what I insinuated. I didn't mean that at all.
I have another.
I'm going to stop this for just a second, please. Mr. Clifford.
I have another question. What justifies the 2012 and the 2013
It
abatement?
should have been 7 years and got 8. And I said that. That
It
was,
started, read the contract.
sir, you have 7 years worth of property tax abatement, right? So once
The
you start
contract
getting
is the
assessed
contract.
value.
The
And you know
contract
what else
started.
is in the contract, Dr. Clifford?
Can
Is that
please,
the base value
can
of
I
what's
ask-
not going to be taxed is $1.1 million, and we were assessed $3.2 million over the life of that.
The contract started in 2005. It ended in 2011. What allows you to justify an abatement in 2012 and 2013?
2013 is not justified.
What
And I
about
told you,
2012? What
It's a
con-
7-year abatement.
But the contract, you gotta go by the contract.
Then let's go by the contract.
The contract starts
Hey, you
at-
know
Please.
what? When we go by the contract, you know what you'll see? We overpaid taxes. And I'm working on that with the tax assessor, Dr. Clifford. And that's the way this should happen. If there's an error in an evaluation, or if there's an error in the abatement, I went to the taxing districts to work with them and work it out. I told them, if we owe money, we'll pay. If we owe money, we'll pay. But if we did not in compliance, we were in
If the
compliance.
2004 contract was the valid contract, what building were you referring to when you told the PEDC that the building was substantially completed September 9th,
That-
2006?
you
Let me
are-
ask, what were you
You're
referring to?
mistaken, that's the 06 abatement. That was when we figured we would be substantially complete with the 150,000 square foot expansion, assuming we built it.
This was a couple of years, this was a year ago, this was 11 years after
No,
the.
it was not. You're pulling that out of the
No,
06
this is when
abatement.
this was presented to the
Wrong.
PEDC. Yes, it
No,
was. It
you're
was
wrong.
presented to the PEDC in response to a request just a year ago.
That's coming out of the 06 abatement agreement.
That's right. It's an 06 abatement agreement
And
that
we
you
didn't
responded to less than a year
We did
ago.
not build that building.
I know that. It's
We didn't get the
obvious.
taxes abated. I don't understand why this is so complicated for you to understand.
I don't understand why you don't understand that there's no abatement possible for 2012 or 2013. These things have to follow contracts.
Let's follow the
2012 and
contract.
2013. What contract justifies that? Tell me.
7-year abatement.
No, it's not
contract.
7 years. It's not 7 years. It's from 2005
It's
through
100% tax
to.
abated for 7 years.
Do you just get to pick the 7 years?
No, you
Or
pick
of
the
course
years
not.
when
Of
they're
course you don't
abated.
get to.
And
What?
I-
Why
I'm
is
going
this
to-
constantly a witch
Sir,
hunt?
I'm going to stop both of you.
Yeah.
You need to both respond to the questions. It's not emotional. Give the answers, both
It's
of you.
emotional
So,
for us, 'cause
I
it's been
realize,
going
but
on
the
for
thing
way
is,
too long.
we'll maintain the decorum of the meeting. Please answer, both of you, each other's questions, one at a time. We'll need to have a civil discussion. So
May I ask one question?
please, go right ahead.
Were the taxes abated in 2005 for the building?
No, there was no taxes in 2005 because the building wasn't finished until the end of 2005. So therefore, the tax abatement would start when the building was finished.
Which would be 2000 what?
6.
Okay, 6.
7 years.
8, 9,
Yeah.
10, 11, 12.
What is the contract? Is my
2005,
question.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No, you
11.
said
The
2005 they weren't
contract
abated.
started in 2005. Can we ask Mr. McKellier something? If the contract says the abatement period is 2005 through 2011, can we extend it to 2012?
No.
No, thank you.
Where is that contract?
It's the 2004 contract. I have copies of it.
But
Can we see
does it? Yeah, can we see it? Does it start? When does it? What does it say? When does it start?
It starts in 2005.
I'm sorry, Mr. Harp.
And it
Do-
ends in 2011.
Does it say it ends in 2011?
Yeah, it does in the contract.
Yes, it
And look
does.
at what the base valuation of the building is.
Building one built.
Shall extend for 7 years, beginning January 1st, 2005.
No, I'm gonna hand it to you. That's great. No, decided to hold on to it, so.
Is this in the package? Or can I see that too, please?
So it actually ends January 1st, 2012.
At the end of 2011, it's 7 years, starting the entire year 2005 through 2011. That's what it ends.
When do you pay the 2005 taxes?
There were no 2005 taxes. The building wasn't assessed.
So
The
when do
building
you
wasn't
pay the-
finished. There's 7 years worth of tax abatement. You can go by whatever you want to say.
Can
that's
I
fine.
ask one question?
You know?
If the contract starts in 2005 and the building is not ready, does the contract apply when the building is ready, or does the contract apply from the date the contract is set to apply?
You can't start a tax abatement, abating taxes till the building's built. So
Yes.
normally, if the building was finished in 2005, you would start abating taxes in 2006.
Which is what happened.
Okay, so if the
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Do
please
you
go.
concur with that statement, that that's what happened?
Do I concur with which statement?
With what Jordan just said, that that's what happened? It was finished in 2005?
I mean, I take his word for it. I mean, that's what he's
I
telling
got a
us.
substantial
I haven't
completion
seen-
document of August 10th,
I haven't seen
2005.
that. Yeah, I haven't seen.
I mean,
So my question still is, what does one go by? I'm still not clear. Does one go by, if the contract says it finishes in 2011, does it finish in 2011 or does it finish in 2012?
I think it's the same. I think 7 years is
Sep-
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
12.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, now I'm confused.
No, it doesn't
It's,
start until.
well, no, I'm just asking a simple question.
Dr. Hoshman, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
I have to see.
Let's just think logically for once, all right? You're gonna invest $4.5 million in the community, right? The city council, PJC, and the county say, okay, business owner, if you're gonna invest in the community, we're gonna give you 7 years worth of abatement. That's the trade-off, right? If you invest, you get 7 years worth of abatement. Who cares if it's from 6 to 12 or from 5 to 11 or whatever? It's the 7 years worth of abated value. And then the taxes should be assessed.
And I agree
Right.
with you. I agree with you, but the only question that I have is, a contract, if it says it ends in 11, does it end in 11 or does it end with, based on when the building, which applies 7 years of abatement or the contract? Or there should be no ending date on the contract, correct? Or am I wrong?
Well, I just looked at the 04 tax payment agreement that Dr. Clifford has over there. It says that it starts in January 1, 2005, right? And it's a 7-year agreement. So that is, so even if the building wasn't finished, it was a deal that was signed in fall of 2004. They said we're gonna start it in January 2005, so that would be the first year, whether that building was built or not. If it took them to the end of 2005 to finish the building, it still starts in 2005, so it would have ended 7 years later
So in other
in tax
words,
year
it's-
2011.
So what you're saying is it doesn't go by when the building finishes in
No,
spite
but-
of the fact that they're promised 7 years of abatement?
Not the way that agreement's written, right?
Can I also ask you a question? Ken?
I'll answer if I can.
The base valuation in that contract, do you want to read what that is? The base valuation on the existing property was $1,135,000 set in that agreement.
Okay, before you did the addition.
Before we did the addition. So everything over that amount would be abated for 7 years, or if you want to go by the contract, we were assessed taxes of $3.2 million for those years. So now, what you're saying by contract is we should have been assessed $1.135 million on the base value that wasn't abated, but we were overtaxed. And really, all I'm really here to talk about is, this is a conversation with the tax assessor, the city manager, the county judge, and PJC. Nobody up here is an expert in property tax abatement. Obviously, you're not. And now, we're bringing this up as an agenda item for the council. This is an absurd use of your time and the political time, or the public's time. And when we're having to have meetings like this, it creates a really, really complicated place for businesses who want to come do business in this town. And that's all I'm really trying to get across to everybody up here. And obviously, it doesn't seem like it's getting it's not getting better. And all I'm trying to say is, we're going to pay our part if we owe. We will pay our part if we owe. But we want to be treated fairly across the board. And that is not happening on a consistent basis.
You want to say something? I have a comment.
What I'm trying to say, though, is the PEDC doesn't even ask Paris Warehouse 107 to submit a document for either of these two contracts. This is the way things work in the PEDC.
No. This was a compliance.
That's exactly what it is.
The compliance was handled at the city.
The city didn't do it. The city did nothing on either of these two contracts. I've looked at the documents.
We would have done it through about 2008 plus, because we had a paid employee.
But the point is, every single entity, the city of Paris, Lamar County, PJC, the PEDC, everyone was acting as if a warehouse had been built that hadn't been built. It was only discovered.
No, they were not.
It was only discovered just a few weeks ago.
They were not acting that way.
Actually, everybody wasn't, because the tax appraisal office never did operate under the 80, 60, 70. They had it at 100% all the time.
For 8 solid years.
It should have been for
2 years
7.
that it was ineligible.
Can I stop for just one second? I think the problem lies in the fact that 2012 and 2013 taxes got abated, which we know that, and we could not properly justify that, because if they are to end in 2011, then they should end in 2011, and then wherever the shortfall might lie, and we can keep discussing it back and forth on this, but if it is okay with you, I would like to suggest that we should discuss it with them and see if they are due 2012 and 13 taxes, then that is what should be obtained. Again, it's your agenda item, so you decide how you want to go with it.
I see no
but
rational reason, according to the contracts, that taxes could possibly have been abated in 2012 or 2013. There's not a single contract that justifies that.
And that's what I'm saying, that if that is the case, then they should be discussed and they should be asked to pay those taxes. Is that an acceptable thing?
That's what I think.
Mr. Frierson?
Yeah, since I've got a little piece of this agenda item too, I'd just like to say that you're right. That's exactly where this whole discussion should have been. It should have been with the taxing entities and Paris Warehouse 107. That's where it should have stayed. However, we choose to go ahead and make sure we try to point fingers at everybody else. Just like somebody's not a city engineer involved in performance testing, we're going to get to spend money on that. And now all of a sudden, I'm no expert in economic development. We're going to get to talk about that too. The abatement process was approved. It's gone forward, man. I mean, I don't know how else to stress
Give
it.
an explanation for why the contract changed and why we had contradictory information.
We don't know.
Actually,
Yeah, we do too. We have the minutes from the PEDC meeting. We have the
We don't have
agenda
minutes.
information sheet from the city council, and the 30 new employees that were mandated by that disappeared in the contract. That's a fact. It's in the documents.
Are
It's not a fact.
Are you prepared to assess and point out someone accusing them of wrongdoing?
I'm not accusing anybody. I'm pointing out
Well, you
facts.
certainly felt free to point out people's names, and you know it.
These are facts. The fact is that the documents that were in the PEDC minutes, where they represented 30 jobs would be created. It was represented in the information sheet to the city council.
The fact
that
is-
the contract contained 30 new jobs, and the actual contract contained no requirement at all for jobs. Those are facts.
Wait one more second. I'll
Sure.
respond to that. The fact is, this is asinine, and I hope you understand that. This is something that should be done, not airing dirty laundry in public, and you're so hell-bent on proving yourself right
When did it go?
that I can't believe we have to waste hour and year after year doing this.
I'm glad you're not disputing any of the facts.
I am disputing the
Resorting-
facts.
resorting to
As far as I'm concerned, you're wrong.
I'm
and
going
you
to
need know
stop
it.
this discussion, please. Mr. Pickle, you have a comment to make?
Yes, part of the solution, or part of the problem in this whole thing has been that the checking for compliance, whether it be for abatements or whether it be loan agreements and incentives for the PEDC, those things have been done by citizens of the city of Paris, either council members or people chosen to be on the PEDC. I recommended several months ago that be turned over to the city attorney because that's a stable position regardless of the makeup and the changes of the PEDC and or the city council. And I would still love to bring that back up if I had the support of everybody and ask that all be turned over to the city attorney because he's paid to do that. He can also look at those things, make sure that the agreements are done, worded properly so that we know that 7 years is 7 years is 7 years, so that we have someone who is not going to be in and out as the council changes.
Or with an agenda.
Or with an agenda.
And you can't do that because you weren't in the majority on that vote, so you have to get some.
Okay, I'm going to stop this.
But
Does anyone have any further comments to make on that? Dr. Clifford, do you have any further things to say, or what do you want to do?
I want to make a motion that the City Council of Paris instruct the Lamar County Appraisal District to immediately assess all taxes and interest that was inappropriately abated in 2012 and 2013, including taxes owed to the City of Paris, Lamar County, and PJC.
Why don't you do it for all years?
One second.
Because we were assuming that, I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
No, let's use the contract. If you want to use the contract, let's use the contract.
Can I stop you for just 1
Yeah.
second? First, one question is, can the city council instruct the Lamar County appraisal? I don't think
No.
you can instruct the appraisal, right?
Well, they work for the city in collecting taxes and
Okay.
sending out tax statements.
All right.
I think you can.
You wanted to say something.
Yeah, what I'd like to say is if you want to make a motion, all right, to where you're going to tell the tax assessor to go back and reread the contract and assess us based on the contract, do it for the whole abatement period. All right? If you want to do that, do it for the whole abatement period. So let's get it all cleaned up at one time. If we owe, we'll write a check. If you owe, city, you're going to write us a check. Okay? Let's do that. I think that's fair. Does everybody agree with that? If you're going to use the contract, use the contract. That's fine.
We can't direct even
I'm not
council
directing you. I'm
members.
just
If he
saying,
has,
hey.
he can make a motion that he wants to make, and then he can decide, others can decide.
Are you done
But
with
you want to, if you like his suggestion, you can amend your.
Nope.
Okay, so your motion is,
That the inappropriate abatement that occurred during 2012 and 2013 that has no
That's weak.
contractual support whatsoever, that needs to be assessed.
You didn't ask everybody if they had anything else to say.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
not done. He's made a motion, I'm going to come back to discussion in just a second. If he has a second for the motion then. Is that your
That's the
motion?
motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. Mr. Plata, I'll start with you.
I have to agree with one thing Matt said. This shouldn't have ever come before the public. It should have been behind closed doors with them and stuff. Because the paper's gonna print stuff, and it's gonna just print the highlights, and everybody's gonna be screaming out about how crooked everything is. And this is, and I agree, it's a vendetta, I don't care how you put it, and this is crazy.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I would ask that Dr. Clifford amend his motion to address the entire contract rather than pick out just the items that he thinks that they are in error. And if he's going to be fair, and if there is no agenda, then review the entire contract, not just when the contract ended or didn't end. I would ask that he amend his motion to go back and reflect the entire contract, to be fair, to show that there is no agenda.
Mr. Frierson?
I think I've made my feelings known.
Okay. Mr. Jenkins?
Are you okay with that, Mr. Harper?
What's that?
Do the full 7 years?
I mean, absolutely. How about this? If we're going to use a contract that's legally binding, that the city, the county, and PJC all sign, as well as our companies, why don't we operate under it? That's fine. I have no problem. That's why I got all of the taxing entities, proactively got all the taxing entities together and said, hey, let's go through and figure out what went wrong. If something went wrong, let's fix it. There's no agenda. I have no agenda. I don't want to be here. I'm tired of this. This is ridiculous. But if you're going to say, I'm going to pick out the 2 years of the agreement, do the whole thing. You have no guts if you're not going to do the whole thing. I mean, what's the deal? You got this agenda. You want to do all of this stuff. Let's do it.
I would refrain from personal comments, please.
Hey, man, they seem to be happening to us all the time.
Let's please. Mr. Jenkins, you have anything to say? Ms. Lancaster?
Well, I'm very, very concerned about a lot of things. I don't think that, I know I don't have a personal grudge against the Harpers at all. They've been very nice to me in the past. There's a lot of good things you've done for the community. I just want to make sure that we are doing our tax abatements correctly.
Absolutely. I do too. Let's follow the agreement.
And the agreements always have to be followed.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Dr. Clifford. Do you want to change your agenda? So your motion is?
That the 2012 and 2013 abatements that have no basis in any contract, we refer them to the tax assessor.
Do you want to rethink? I mean, if they're requesting that you follow the entire contract, is there a concern that you have in not following the entire?
What are we saying? Explain to me about following the entire contract.
Can I explain for 1 second and then you can correct me? What he's saying, no, there's nothing to laugh. I'm just trying to help out the situation. What he's asking you is if you're going to go and ask for refund on taxes on 12 and 13, that you follow the entire contract.
I could go along with that. I do think we need to follow the contract. The contract required mandatory reports.
Whatever the contract may be.
I mean, everything, including every mandatory report, needs to have already been filed.
Do you want to follow the contract?
I want to follow 100% of the contract.
So make that motion, please.
And I'll make the motion.
Correct your motion if you want to do that.
That's fine. I'll make the motion that we follow 100% of the contract, including the requirement for
whatever the 100% is.
Whatever that is.
Yep. Okay. Is there a second for that? Okay. All in favor? I'll favor it. Do we have a vote on this? So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm really sort of confused. If we can't find the minutes of meetings, how can we be sure that we can find these reports that might or have been turned in or might have been lost or what might not have been turned in? Whatever.
Can I make a comment?
Sure, go right ahead.
The contract is invest a certain amount of money, create a certain amount of jobs, be abated for a certain amount of time, or years, whatever one you want to look at, right? Those are the items that we're talking about. Did we create the jobs? I can prove that. I can prove that compliance. I can prove that we created the jobs. I can prove that we paid the investment. And I can prove what the taxes were or what they should have been. I think that's really easy for all of us to create. Right? Even if you don't have the compliance at the city.
Can you prove the sworn document was submitted as was required by the contract?
I have documents that
Do you
show.
have sworn?
I have certified letters that went to the city, went to the county, and went to the PJC. It's not my fault if the city can't find them.
So you're saying that we lost the initial reporting document,
Clifford,
we lost the
why
first
do you
year
have such an
document,
agenda?
we lost the second
Think
first
about
year
this.
document, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. You're alleging that all 8 of those documents were lost.
How about you're alleging that I didn't send them?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's one or
I'm
the
asking
other.
you.
Either you didn't send them or we have the most
I'm going to
But
stop
how-
this again, and
No,
I'm
no,
going
no.
to ask that.
I want to comment. You're elected, right, by the people of Paris, right? What are you doing with this? We created the jobs. We paid the taxes. We built the building. We created 5 times the amount of jobs that we should have. Per agreement, if you wanted to leave it in there, you have to create the jobs. 152 were the minimum amount of jobs we created during that time period. A lot of times, we were 220 jobs. Got all that documentation. I can go back through all the workforce centers and all that stuff and show that. But we're trying to sabotage a company for some personal or political agenda. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. We created the jobs, we built the building, let's finish this and move on. And this is a tax assessor thing, and this is a city manager, and a city judge, and a PJC thing, not a council thing.
I'm going to stop this. We have a motion on the floor, and do we have a second for that motion? Repeat your motion so that it's clear, please.
To go through the 2004 contract and completely enforce it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
No.
Okay, so, Mr. Plata, you didn't vote.
I'm not in favor, I don't want.
Okay, so 6 in favor and 1 opposed. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 22 is discuss disannexation request received from Mr. Dennison, lot number 14, Wildwood Estates, and Mr. Kerr, lot number 16, Wildwood Estates, and provide direction to staff, city staff. First of all, do we need to untable this item, or this would be considered as a new thing and not a?
I believe this is a new item.
Okay. Just so that everyone is aware of this, Mr. Dennison's request, there was a little confusion over here with most of the council members thinking that Mr. Dennison's request was approved when the people on Airport Road were approved. But obviously there was some technical issue with it that it didn't get approved, so Mr. Dennison has applied again for disannexation. If Mr. Dennison wants to say something about it, you're more than welcome to come and say. Nothing. City staff, anybody wants to say anything about it?
No, we just recommend that you instruct us to proceed with the notices of the public hearings.
Okay. Any discussion from any council members on this?
I have a question, isn't it, is that over on Airport Road?
No, this is not on Airport Road. This is on Wildwood.
Wildwood, over off Smallwood Road.
Off of Smallwood Road, right at the end.
Okay.
If there's nobody else, any further discussion?
I do have a question.
Yeah,
This property was annexed when? When did it come into the city? Was it back during the land grab?
Yeah, 97.
Back during the land grab?
Right, back
Okay.
during the land grab, yeah.
Yeah.
With- or
Have we
the-
ever been able
with
to
the
provide
expansion.
services since we decided to take in so many people?
To answer that one.
Well, we've provided most services, yes. Water and sewer have been iffy depending on where it is, which is why we took out the airport properties. This is a property that we actually in 2012, the council disannexed 2 or 3 properties in this same area. And then this one property, Mr. Dennison was not included either time because taking him out would make somebody else an island. And this is the other property now that's also requesting disannexation. So.
I just wonder if we should go back and revisit all the actions of those councils whenever they were annexing property they knew they couldn't properly provide services for. Just curious.
I would like to stick to the agenda item, please.
That's just,
When this happened,
just
who
a
was the
thought I had.
mayor?
I do not recall.
Who?
Okay.
Mayor Clifford? Okay, thank you.
All right. Now that we are over that, is there any further discussion on this? I'll make a motion that the city staff be instructed to allow disannexation of this property as requested.
Is it for motion?
Well, that's instruction and motion?
Yeah, just.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
We'll have to set it up for public hearings and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
I made the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Sorry for the long wait, but finally. All right. Item number 23, discuss and propose definition of zoning district location for an antique and classic automobile restoration use. Mr. Palata, you want to say something about it?
No,
Since you are all into it.
I read it real good.
You liked it?
Well, I think they're good. She has an idea that they're doing there. I don't know that it's kind of like an automotive shop, really.
Okay. All right. City staff, Mr. Efrasi.
Yes, several weeks ago, Mrs. Jernigan, who has an automobile restoration, hot rod restoration, classic car restoration business with her husband in Reno, wishes to come to Paris and reestablish that business. We think it's a good use, it's a unique use, and it could serve a lot of people. Addressing the specifics of the zoning ordinance, there's a section that says new and unlisted uses. Specifically, there's no use listed under automobile restoration. The staff, motivated by trying to address the zoning ordinance, brought this to the Planning and Zoning Commission because it's a typical zoning process. Staff makes a recommendation, Planning and Zoning Commission makes a recommendation, and the City Council makes a final judgment. So we opted on that behalf. We indicated in our agenda item to the Planning and Zoning Commission that automobile restoration is quite similar to automobile repair. They unanimously agreed with that. The staff agrees with that. We're bringing this to you today because it's a function of the zoning ordinance. You have, as a council, the opportunity to go ahead and ask that we put this in the zoning ordinance. There's also, underneath this, a conflict in the zoning ordinance. You can do this through a resolution, but then another section in the ordinance, which we're going to try to clean up, says you have to have a public hearing. Zoning
Mr.
ordinance.
Efrasi, what is your suggestion?
That you agree with the staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission, and you let the Jernigans and anyone else who wants to do automobile operation operate under automobile sales and repair, which gives them 5 zoning districts to operate on.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is it an action item?
It is an action item.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Can be, should be, needs to be.
Sorry, I saw discussion regarding, so.
Yeah, and either way, I mean, what we're after is that the council's aware and the council concurs, whether you formally
I
concur.
mean, I support it, I just didn't know if it was an action item.
Okay. So if it's not an action item, then you have direction.
We have our direction.
Okay, got it. So I won't take a vote on this, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If I can please ask all the council members for a favor to move item number 25 up, I'll make a motion to approve, to move item 25 up, because the firefighters have been sitting here, I'm sure they have other work to do. So before we go to the next agenda item, can we move 25 up to 24?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I thought you already got your fire truck.
They never go away.
Greedy?
I have, Mayor and Council, I have the apparatus committee here tonight, and I have one of the firefighters going to make hopefully a brief presentation. But basically, as we discussed last year, the normal lifespan of a fire truck is about 10 years front line and 10 years in reserve. We've got one more fire truck that's approaching the 18-year mark on lifespan, which means it's almost out of the reserve status. And we discussed with y'all last year the possibility of buying one last year and buying one this year. Of course, as you well know, the way we're paying for these fire trucks, the first payment for the one we just received just became due, and it's been a year since you approved it. This one would be in the next budget year. It wouldn't be in this budget year. Basically, we have a fleet that's almost back up to par with what we should have. We've let it go too long. We need to stagger these vehicles so that they don't fall apart at the same time, and we have to replace so many at once. So I'm going to have the firefighter come up here and make a little presentation explaining to you what we're looking for and the reasons behind it, and I'll be happy to answer any questions after that's over with. This is Chad Graves, Captain Chad Graves.
Council, Mayor, City Administration, appreciate your time. Our committee is made up of captains, drivers, and a deputy chief. We were set out, given the task to come up with a plan to replace our last 1998 Spartan quality pumper. This truck has had numerous issues: transmission, motor problems, electrical problems, communication problems. It's an old truck. Right now the mileage on it's 108,000 and some change, and plus the engine hours on it are right about 10,000 hours. And so this truck has served the city well, the citizens well, and we've gotten pretty much the useful life out of this truck. As we embarked on this journey to decide what we were going to replace it with, we made the decision that a more versatile piece of equipment would probably be better suited for the station that's going to, which is a station located on Southeast 24th. With that, the last time we were at the Pierce factory, whenever we were doing the final inspection on the engine we just received, we made the decision to look at a 75-foot Quint, which is basically what a Quint stands for, is a mixture of an engine and a ladder truck. Not quite as long of a ladder as what we already have, but a little bit bigger of an engine, so there's more compartmentation. With this, we'll get some added redundancy, because currently right now we have one aerial, and whenever it's out of service, which is a 1996 truck, we don't have any aerial coverage. There's not one close that can give us the same length that we need. And so this comparison gives you an idea of the difference between a Quint and an engine. The biggest difference that's going to be noticeable is the price. It's significantly more expensive. With that, the weight, there's not that much of a difference with the weight, 7,500 pounds. The length of it is 4 foot longer in wheelbase. Actually, the overall length of it is only 3 foot longer. With that, carries the same assortment of equipment, actually with a little bit of additional equipment as a normal engine. Therefore, we're not getting that big of a truck that's going to be an issue running up and down the roads, but we're getting a truck big enough that we can have more compartmentation. Like I said, the total price of the truck with equipment is $975,185. I know that's a big bite, but the truck itself is $955,469. If we do the prepayment like we did last year, that takes the price down to $906,929. You add the equipment, which is $64,000, and then a bond, it brings the price up to $973,685. You add the buy board fee, which we have to pay since that's who we're buying through. It takes the price up to $975,185. To give you an idea on the equipment, that's our radios, flashlights, thermal imaging cameras, things like that. To give you an idea what other departments spend on loose equipment, the Metroplex, they can easily spend up to $250,000 on equipment, where we're spending around $64,000. The way we can do that is we reuse the equipment off the old truck, the truck we're taking out of service, the fire hose, chainsaws, air packs, rescue tools, things like that, and then just buy basically the minimum that we need to replace, whether that's communication equipment or whatever. To give you an idea of a Quint versus a pumper, a lot of it's going to be the same. The biggest difference on a Quint is the fact that we have a 75-foot ladder. And at the tip of that, we can support 750 pounds. So if we need to get somebody out of high water, below grade rescues, any type of technical rescue, high angle rescue, and then obviously structure fires when we have multi-story buildings. In this presentation, I have a map listing showing the jurisdiction. It's a pretty busy map. This is put out by ISO, Insurance Service Offices. When we looked at this, we looked at the NFPA standards for a Quint as well as the ISO, and what ISO suggests that we have as far as in our different districts. In the district that we're talking about, you can see the different colored dots. The ones that we're going to pay attention to are the red and the yellow ones. The blue and the green basically tell us gallons per minute or how big the structure is. And so the red and the yellows are the big structures. There we go. All right. The red and the yellow tell you 4,000 GPM or more. GPM stands for gallons per minute. It tells us how much water we have to put on the fire to put it out. All right, and that's based off square footage and what the building's made of. So in this jurisdiction, we have different things. We have schools. PISD has numerous campuses in this area. We have the majority of our retail shopping. We have the new Paris Lakes development that's coming in. And so there's numerous buildings that we could use this expanded versatility compared to just a normal pumper truck. The next slide, one after that, shows basically a breakdown of Station 4's district. Once again, this is a pretty busy slide, but I have 9 different locations listed that are already existing and have them numbered to give you an idea of where this truck would be first due, or they're going to be the main truck that responds there. This truck responded in the last 5 years to 5,700 runs. Inside the district is right at 4,800. And so this is a busy district for our city. Okay, we have a lot of traffic and a lot of businesses here. And so we stay pretty busy in this area.
Mr. Graves, can I stop you for 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Why are you mentioning two separate kind of trucks? They look completely different, and I mean their functions are different. So are we talking about truck A or truck B?
Truck A, the Quint, is what we're
Okay,
suggesting.
so why are you talking?
I'm just showing the comparison, the difference between a Quint and a pumper. I'm just,
Okay,
just so
but
there's
now
no
if we
question.
need A, and I mean they're completely two different animals, right?
Yes, sir.
So we really don't need.
I was just doing
B.
that in preparation for if there was any questions with why we need a Quint.
We are
compared to a
convinced,
pumper.
I think, all of us that
Okay,
A
well,
is a better choice. My question to you is, sorry for the interruption.
No, sir.
I see a ladder on A.
Yes, sir.
Is this a replacement of the ladder truck that you have?
No, sir. It's going to be a replacement of engine 4. Our ladder 1 truck, to replace that one with something that's equal, would be $1.2 to $1.4 million.
Okay, but now if we need a ladder truck and we don't have a ladder truck, instead of spending $1 million, would it not be better to just buy a truck for 1.4 million? Yes, it's expensive, but would it not be better to buy the 1.4 million and just be done with that so that we have a ladder truck rather than still be lacking a ladder truck?
Well, right now we still have that ladder truck. The
But
other
it's not very functional, correct? I mean,
It
it's
still
old.
works. We've just had numerous maintenance issues.
Okay.
This truck right here, engine 4, gets a lot more usage as compared to our ladder 1 truck. The other issue is this: is that Station 1's district covers our downtown district as the first do, as well as the hospital out north, plus different industry.
But are you going to come back to ask for the ladder truck again?
Yes, sir. In about 5 to 6 years, or whenever
Okay.
the chief tells me.
Why don't we do the ladder truck? What's the harm in doing the ladder truck? I mean, we're already spending $1 million on this. Why don't we do the ladder truck now? That's what I'm trying to gather.
Because this engine's going to be getting more use, and so this engine's going to be down more. If we were to put the larger ladder truck in service to fill engine 4s, I think we'd have more issues.
Okay.
And
So you don't need a ladder truck at this point?
we're just asking to replace that 1998 pumper. Yes, we do need that ladder truck right now, but
But they need
I've
the
thought-
replacement engine more. Is that a
Okay.
fair statement?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me ask you another question then. Do you need to have a ladder on this pumper? If you don't need this ladder on this, will it cut the price down? And then you can have a ladder truck too? Just curious.
Can you ask that question one more time for me?
Sure. I see that there's a ladder and you said it goes up to 75 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you take the ladder part of this truck off, how much decrease in price do you get?
Then we go straight back to a pumper, what we just purchased. So about 650 to 700,000.
Okay. So if we need a pumper and we just buy a pumper at this point for 650 or X amount, whatever
Yes,
that amount is, and forget the ladder part for now, since you have a ladder truck which is maybe not perfect but is functional, and put another 400,000 towards the ladder truck for a full regular ladder truck for a later date, is that a choice or not?
It would be a choice. The issue comes in is that we have
He's
two-
nodding his head, so I want to know which one is the right choice.
Well, we have 2 districts that need a ladder truck. Not to mention with the industry that we have, Campbell Soup, Kimberly-Clark, all of our different industries. One ladder truck isn't going to suffice. With all the money that we've been putting into downtown, we need to protect. It's our job to help protect that investment, and one ladder is just not going to get the job done. Yes, sir.
Mayor, let me explain the response. We have a ladder truck right now. It's unmanned. It's in a station, sitting there, unmanned completely. As right now, if we need a ladder truck, we have to scramble. We're already on the scene fighting the fire. We have to scramble to call people in from off duty to actually go get that ladder truck and bring it to the scene so that we can use the ladder truck.
But that's a manpower issue, right? It's not a truck issue.
Correct, but by doing this, we have an engine to respond,
Okay.
but we've got the ladder there with us already. So we're not as concerned about calling people in to man the unmanned.
I
We've got this one already manned.
Okay.
So, and it gives us some flexibility with the ladder that we don't have right now.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt your presentation. Do you have anything further to say, or
Just the rest of it, it just goes through what the chief.
why you need it? Does anybody want,
Just show the area that it's primarily going to cover.
If you can go back to that smaller map.
as long as Edmund's house is not in
It
that?
is in it, so I think that's a great
That's
idea.
where the problem is.
As is mine. My house is in it as well. So.
Wait a minute.
How often do you have to call ladder truck right now?
The issue is this, is we would probably use it a lot more, but trying to cut back on overtime, we don't call it out. I mean, by the time we get there and get somebody there, we're an hour into the scene. And so if it's there, we can use it more effectively and pre-position it quicker. Because we have to get that ladder truck there and up front as quick as possible. And when we get all the other apparatus there and we find out, hey, we need it. I mean, when we get addresses, unless it's a downtown address or an address we go to regularly, Kimberly Clark, for example, we don't know what size building we're until we get there. And so if we have it now, it's going to be there, and we're not going to have that delay in it. That also goes back into property loss and then public safety, because it's the versatility is there, the capability is there right from the get-go.
Anybody has any further questions on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lancaster.
Captain Graves,
Yes, ma'am.
which truck do you want?
I am on Rescue 1.
No, I
No,
mean,
which
which
truck?
one do you want?
Which one do I want? I want the Quint.
We want you to have what you need.
Thank you, ma'am.
And all of those people sitting, I take it that they're all in agreement, right? There's no disagreement? Okay. All right,
I think it's too much, I think it's way too high myself.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you that it's very expensive, but the problem though is, if you don't want me to have a piece of equipment in my cath lab, I'm going to seriously argue with you that without that knowledge, how do you?
I think they're doing fine with the pumper right now. Myself, a lot less money, it's just too high.
Mr. Frierson?
I have a question, not necessarily for Captain Graves, and not really for Chief either, but for Mr. Godwin. In looking at this, and hey, listen, I get it, always be prepared, and boy, if it happens once, that's, a big deal. But my question is, something you guys said is, do we have an equipment problem or do we have a personnel problem?
Probably both.
What if we can only solve one? I'm curious if this truck is staying unmanned because we don't have enough people, is it a better use of resources to look into improving the size and quality of the staff as
Well, I
opposed to
think-
buying more equipment?
Can I answer
But
that?
they're replacing what they're saying is they're replacing a truck. And so
Well, if you're I'm just saying-
manpower is not the issue
I'm just saying
today.
if you're spending money, I'm just wondering where the most bang for the
Well,
buck is.
well, I'll answer since you asked me, and I don't know what the chief might say. It's two different issues that obviously intersect, but the immediate issue is we have an old engine in 4 that's very, very bad and very, very outdated, and it needs to go away.
Yeah.
The
And it's
issue with
staffed right now,
The
right?
issue,
Man.
it's regular, it's the engine for Station 4. It's your engine when your house gets firebombed. It's the one that's going to come for you. And
Which one of us are you talking to? I just want to be
Mr.
clear.
Bickel.
I think we're
Mr.
probably
Bickel.
both on
Actually,
the block
both.
at some point. I just
Actually,
wanted-
both.
Yeah, that's right, both. And so that engine just needs to be replaced. So the immediate issue for us is, do you get the one just another one of those, or do you get the more expensive one that's got more versatility? The staffing issue, I don't believe we're understaffed. The chief may disagree with that. Most fire chiefs do. Because you don't need to staff that ladder truck every minute of every day because you don't need it
Don't
very
need it.
often, and that's a lot of money when you don't need it very often. But while we're replacing that old junker of an engine, it also gives us the ability to, like they're saying, they have the ladder without having to call people in and spend all that money on overtime too. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. But the goal here is to replace an old piece of equipment.
And so this money that would be spent per year on this new truck, does it come at the expense of additional other departments? I mean, resources that they may need? Or is this higher priority, or is that a
I
loaded
think
question?
this is a super high priority. This is part of the, each spring I give you a kind of a 50-page document of our plans, our multi-year plan, and this is in that plan. And so it was identified as something we intended to do. And of course, we talked about it during the budget cycle as well, that we want to replace an engine. In fact, if you'll recall last budget cycle, we talked about replacing 2 at one. And I said, no, let's stretch them out because you don't want to get them all at the same time, because then 20 years down the road, some other poor council is going like, why did those guys do this to us? So yeah, it's a high priority, and it's a planned expenditure.
2 other questions that I have. Right now, where is your ladder truck? Which station does it work out
It's
of?
parked at Fire Station 4.
Okay. And my next question is, going back to what Mr. Pilata is saying, supposing we say that this is too expensive for our city, and I understand Metroplex spends 1.4 million, but Metroplex has other taxes too. If we were to say that we were going to say, get another pumper truck like the one that you got, does it create problems? Does it not create problems? Are you going to be happy? Are you going to be unhappy? What are you going to do?
I'll answer that.
No, I don't want you to answer to that. I know your answer already.
I can tell you this, is I've been here 3 years, and since I've been here for the last 3 years, we've actually needed a ladder truck at least a dozen times on our structure fires. We average 2 structure fires a week, and that's been happening the whole time I've been here. And many of those structure fires, we would have curtailed early in the game if we'd had a ladder truck. The reason we didn't is because of the time frame. We had to call people back in, they had to go to the station, had to man the truck, they had to drive it out there, and by the time they get it there, we can't get in a position to fight the fire. So from my standpoint of view, and I have to agree with the city manager, the fire chiefs always like more personnel, but this is not an issue about personnel. This is an issue about having the flexibility to have a working pumper on the most calls, but then when we do need a ladder truck, it's going to be there. We're not having to call people in, and he's right. We don't use a ladder truck all the time, and it'd be ludicrous to sit here and say that we need to hire 4 firefighters to sit on a ladder truck, shift in and shift out, and maybe work them one time a month.
But then putting a ladder is costing you $300,000 on this truck. And to go back to Mr. Pilata's point, is there, if your requirement of the ladder is not that much, as you have said, do we really need to spend another $300,000 on something that the requirement is not that much?
No, I'm saying that the requirement of ladder is we would use a ladder. The fire they called the Furniture Warehouse fire downtown, where the Furniture Warehouse burnt to the ground, if we'd have had a ladder truck there initially on that fire, that building probably, I won't say it wouldn't, but it probably could have been saved. At least the whole of it could have been saved. It wouldn't have collapsed completely to the ground. There's a lot of instances where we've needed a ladder truck that we didn't, and because of the time frame, the firefighters just gutted it out and fought the fire by hand without using an aerial ladder.
Mr. Pilata, do you want to change your mind?
I don't.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm working from the point that this happened to me. My house burned to the ground because the needed piece of equipment, it was a 2-story house, couldn't get there in time. So I literally came away with a tie tack and a little mound of pictures, and that's all. So that time is just very important.
It is. We had a fire on Southeast 8 about 6 months ago. It was a 2-story, massive home. We fought it by hand, and we fought the fire for probably 2 hours to get it under control. If we'd have had a ladder truck there initially to fight that fire, we'd have probably put it out in about 45 minutes and probably saved part of the structure. As a result, the whole thing was burnt to the ground, and we ended up having code enforcement abate it.
Right.
So.
It was the easiest move I ever had.
Yeah. So I can assure you it'd be used more if we had it.
Any further discussion on this? Is there something we need to do with this today?
We'd like you to authorize us to proceed. This is a very lengthy process, as you recall. It'll take over a year.
Can I, so we're gonna pay a payment on the fire truck this year, right?
On the one we have.
Right.
Right.
And then, so next year, when we get that other fire truck, they're gonna pay a payment on that. So
Right.
you're gonna end up, sometime you're gonna end up having 2 fire engine payments?
That's correct. And the way you avoid doing that is you don't let your engines get this old so that you have to buy 2 engines in 2 years.
Right.
So should we delay it for a few years?
No, I'm
to
not saying
space it
that.
out.
That's all I'm looking
Two wrongs
at.
don't make a right thing.
Ms. Lancaster?
Do we now have in place a retention policy?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that we,
Yes,
good,
ma'am.
very good.
See,
Mr. Pickle, you're sitting quietly. Should we leave it that way?
what's the payment? I mean, wasn't this, the payment on this engine we have now is like $300 and something thousand, right?
No, it's about 70,000.
72,000.
72, so on 900, and that was only $600 something thousand. Now this is 900 and something thousand. How much is the payment on that?
$90,000.
$93,000.
For how many years?
10 years. Same as the one we've got now. That's why we spread it out over a 10-year period, because the lifespan of an engine total is 20 years, 10 years frontline, 10 years reserve, so we can get the full use of the frontline use of the engine while we're making payments on it. And by the time it goes into reserve, it's paid for.
Anybody has any comments? Mr. Pickle, Mr. Frierson, you're sitting very
No,
quietly.
I have a way of helping pay for it, but I'm gonna just keep my mouth shut for the time being, because otherwise Gene will come shoot me.
Well, at least you know he's still awake.
Well, and the actual payment part of it will be part of next summer's budget.
Okay, I want to find out, to cut it short now, I want to find out, do you want to proceed with the way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everyone? Okay, you have an answer. Proceed with it.
Thank you, Dr. Ashman.
Thank you so
Council.
much. Rest of the council too, I'm not the only one here. All right, so with this, we are going to move back to item number 24, but before we do that, it's not an agenda item, so I'm not going to say it, but briefly, there are two people here from PJC. We appreciate them coming and having us sign the thing. Can we, if they want to say a word or two, can we accept that, or is it completely off the agenda? You want to say something? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You can identify yourself and tell us who you are. And you are a student or?
PJC. I'm Tyler Williams.
Both are students at PJC?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for coming and thank you for bringing that. All right. So getting back on the agenda now, what is the time, 8 o'clock? Discuss and,
I just said, yes, it is. Just agree
there is
with
no
you.
football game tonight, is there?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
They play over
Too
by
bad.
now.
Discuss and act on execution of agreement for inspection services with H.W. Lochner, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $1,353,934.45.
Really, there's nothing to, I don't have anything to present. They're here if you have any questions. I want to emphasize this is an amount not to exceed, because it's not like a typical bill where this is going to cost this much. It's when they're used, they will get paid for those hours, and when they're not used, they will not get paid for those hours, but in no case will it ever get to be this much, and we already know it won't be, for example, because B2 is already over half done.
Okay. I have a question. If it's that short, I do have a question. Can we not just test them in the area first, which was identified by Dr. Clifford with the problems, and see what they come up with before we start talking about $1.3 million of expense?
Yes, we can.
So we can limit them to say, come up with the solution on whatever that street, West Houston Street, and ask them to evaluate that, come back to us, and then rethink on this contract?
Yes, sir.
You allow me to say something?
Yes, please.
The same company that did West Houston cut that 19th Street on Sherman, and that is atrocious. People have come to me, and it's the same company that did Houston. And people have come to me and told me how bad it is. And now, all I'm asking is if this company can guarantee that that stuff won't happen after they leave. I mean, it's bad. It is terrible.
So why don't we let them do the West Houston instead of allowing the entire contract? If the council is in agreement, let them evaluate West Houston Street, which has been pointed out, or 19th Street that you're talking about, and instead of the 1.3 million, have them come back with a report back to us, see whatever amount is spent on that, and then decide about further contract and see what they come up with.
Can I make a comment?
Please come on up.
I'm Corey Hogue. I'm with Lochner. I just wanted to say that that's unacceptable to us. However,
That is unacceptable to us?
That is acceptable
Okay.
to us. However, this is a specified rate. So if you sign this contract, you're only agreeing to the rates that are specified in the agreement, and so we can begin working on this, on B1, and, you know, we're looking at B1 and moving to B2, and
what I tell you from my standpoint, I'm uncomfortable letting you do all of that and committing to $1.3 million. What I am very comfortable in saying, this section to this section, evaluate it, bring it back to us, and if we like your work, we'll maybe authorize, the council will authorize it. But till such time that we've seen your performance, I'm very reluctant to just give an arbitrary thing that, okay, we'll authorize $1.3 million. That's all I'm saying.
I would just go back to say that that's not, you know, we're on a rate, so if we don't work out, you can fire us. I mean, there's.
Well, we don't want to get to a
Okay.
situation of hiring and firing.
Okay.
We just want to limit one section that we have concern. You're the one who started it, so you tell me, is that acceptable to you?
That's acceptable.
Is it acceptable to everyone in the council that we allow them a short segment and not give this 1.3 million contract today and let them operate on an agreement for whatever Mr. Plata and Dr. Clifford has shown us, and then come back to us, and then we'll see the rest after that?
My only question is, the one that did those two that they were talking about, that's not the one that's doing Johnson Woods right now, is it?
No.
Okay, then that's fine. Otherwise, I wanted to add
All
one
right,
to
so
it.
can I?
It's contract B1, and there is a price in there for B1, so it's, and we've even talked
I'm
about
going to, is everyone acceptable to that? Mr. Frierson, you're not nodding yes or no.
I see the way the majority's going, so.
Okay, so majority is going, Mr. Plata, you're fine with it?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, if everybody goes with it,
Dr. Clifford, Mr. Jenkins, Ms. Lancaster? Okay, so start with those two streets that Mr. Clifford and Dr. Clifford and Mr. Plata has pointed out, and then we move from there on. We move to the next agenda item. Item number 26, consider and approve future events for the city council pursuant to, I'm not sure whether to bring this up on this one, but I do have a question for the council members. And if everybody is in agreement, I was thinking that maybe the city could send a letter to the mayor in Paris, France, giving our support and condolences to them. If all people are in agreement on that, then we'd like to send a letter. There are people in the community who've requested, Dr. Tobin has requested, there are multiple other people who have requested. So if the council doesn't feel inappropriate, then we can write them a letter and we can sign them and send our condolences and whatever else. Is that fine with the council? Okay. Anything else?
Just clarification, are we meeting just on December the 14th, and that's all in December?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we actually decided that or not, but that's.
You will be very happy, I won't.
Oh,
be
yes,
here.
I am.
All right, with that,
So moved.
all in favor? All right, thank you very much.